Now I'll just talk about lubrication and some maintenance that's required on the machine just throughout its normal daily use. There's a number of points to grease and some points to use like a dry lube on, and also some CRC. So I'll just run through those with you. Firstly, we have a grease nipple here. That's there to lubricate the anvil. You need to always make sure that the anvil's free in the bushes. You should be able to move it up and down and take the free play out of it. And that just needs enough grease or lubrication on this anvil shaft to allow that to move in and out. If you put too much in there, it'll come out all over the place. So it just needs enough to keep this surface nicely lubricated. The next thing we need to look at is the channel where the hammer carriage slides up and down. There's a couple of nylon slide blocks in there. Prefer not to put grease in there because that'll attract dirt and grime. Just use a bit of CRC up along the channels. You can lubricate up above the hammer, run the hammer up and then lubricate down below the hammer inside the channels. That'll keep that moving nice and free. We need to keep this digger pivot shaft nicely lubricated. Normally we'll use grease on the shaft and also some grease into this boss. Very important to keep it clean as well, so before you grease it, give it a good clean up. Just get rid of any grime or dirt. Also the top part of the shaft. So we need to check if this digger is coming all the way in to this plate so as the latch can lock the digger in place. If the digger is not coming up against that plate, there's an adjustment on the top of the engager box cylinder that we can make to bring that so it closes properly. We need it to close all the way so as when we lower the hammer, the locking plate will move up and lock the digger in place. We also need that locking plate to move freely. It may need a bit of lubrication in between the plates if it becomes sticky. And also a little bit of lubrication on top where it strikes against the stop. And there are 4 slide blocks this end and 4 up the other end. They'll need some CRC or some silicone spray just along the channel to allow that to slide freely. And also need to keep them clean from dirt and grit. These 2 bolts here have a nylon washer behind them. They'll also need a little bit of spray from time to time, so they may tend to wear slightly. As they wear, the bolts will need to be just retensioned up. You need to keep a good check on the hoses. Make sure that they're not wearing or rubbing on other moving components, and make sure there's no oil leaks up around any of the connections. In the engager box, there's a top bearing here, has a grease nipple, which needs to be greased regularly. And the bottom bearing need to have some CRC, needs to be kept lubricated. On the telescopic machine, there's wear pads in behind these plugs, so this channel needs to be lubricated to prevent the wear plugs from wearing, and lubricate the inner channel with some CRC as well.